Hello, and welcome to P.I.E. Projects, Ideas, and Experiments. You guessed it, more plants. This video is, I guess, a bit of a continuation. A previous video of mine. I had collected some cuttings from where I work and tried an experiment to see if I could get them to grow. After the few updates that were posted, they were doing pretty well, and now they're doing decently enough that I need to transplant them. Unfortunately, honeysuckle is, while I do have a honeysuckle on my balcony, I don't have any more room for plants. So, also, this type of honeysuckle, when it goes dormant, it looks like dead branches, and so don't want to irritate the management here at the complex. So I'm going to be putting these in little makeshift containers and giving them away, maybe sell one or two of them. I'm not really sure, but yeah. So basically this whole video is going to be potting these up to make as like little giveaways. Not giveaways to the channel, but if y'all are interested in that, you let me know, because I could come up with a few things. I don't have enough subscribers and viewers to do any sort of giveaway. Possibly. Maybe that would attract more people. Who knows? In all fairness, I had actually ordered some, they're called nursery pots, just cheap little plastic pots. And they showed up. They were crap. They were so paper thin. It was, for what I need, it's not going to work. I thought, well, what would be of a decent size to hold one cutting that could make sure to hold the water needed, but not have drainage holes, since these are going to be transported and whatnot. And so no drainage holes, sturdy enough to withhold the contents, but cheap. Solo cups. Well, off-brand Solo cups. I'm going to use Solo cups as little containers. I'm going to show you the honeysuckle here and get them transplanted over. Should make 6 or 8, maybe. I know some of them in there are not in good shape. One thing you need to remember if you proceed at this at your own risk, obviously with no drainage holes, you don't want it to get waterlogged. So very little water goes in. While the other containers did have drainage holes, they were too big. The dirt would have fallen right out. It just wasn't going to work. So this way keeps things a little cleaner, but you just have to be a little more cautious on watering. Let's look at the cuttings. All right. So here are the honeysuckle cuttings. That's new growth. That's new growth. That's new growth. Quite a few of these. There's some growth down in there. Had new growth. So, and obviously some of them didn't make it at all. So I'm just going to divvy these up and get these put in some containers. Solo cups. I chose the clear ones so I could see the water level and if there were any issues. But yeah, just regular basic Solo cups. I'm just gonna use those as containers. Now for this, I want to try to minimize the mess as much as possible, but I know that's probably not really gonna happen. Alright, so I got a little bin here. I use it for transplants and things like that. Now this is just gonna be able to get, so I can take each individual cutting out and gauge on whether or not they're worth planting. Obviously, this one's dead, no roots, came out too easy. It didn't make it. I assume the same is for this one. Now, it did have some roots. I don't know if you can tell there or not. There's just a couple little roots, but it's all dead. Didn't make it. No roots, didn't make it. Alright, now let's try one that looks like it may have rooted. Oh yeah, it's holding on to some stuff. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at those roots. If you can tell, that's a nice one there. So that one will be transplanted. All right, let's get on to another one. I'm just going to go through these, whether I show them all or not. Anything that's spectacular, I'll let you see. Speaking of spectacular, look at those roots. Awesome. All right. This one had some growth, but small roots. This one has some really good roots too. This one has some roots, but no growth, so I'm going to consider this one a loss. This one, I think, kept most all of its original leaves, but the root ball just is not that big. So it's interesting to see the variety of doing these cuttings. Now, the original experiment was these were cuttings that were from basically someone went in and cut a whole bunch of them off of a fence, and I asked my boss if I could get the cuttings. So there was a mixture of old growth, new growth, hardwood, softwood, the whole bit. In all honesty, there's growth on every type. This one was more of a new growth, and it did pretty well. This one was more of an old growth, and it actually did pretty well too. I may try to trim these up a little bit once I get them potted up, but for the most part, I'm just gonna get them planted, see where to go from there. Got a lot of loose dirt here. Okay, so there's 7. That's not too bad. Some of the cells had multiples in there. Some made it, some didn't. But that's experimentation. Alright, now I could just stick this in the dirt bag and fill it up with soil that way. But I don't want the outsides to get too messed up. I know, they're plastic, they can wash off, but that's how I'm going to do it. So let's take this one. I'm going to put that in there. Make sure the leaves stay above. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of dirt on top to make sure that the roots are nice and covered, but we don't get it too far up the stem from what it was used to. So here it is. One nice little transplanted, and this is one of the better looking ones. So we got that one. Let me get through the rest. If I do anything different, I'll let you know. Now for this one, it's got a couple of dead pieces and stuff, so I want to try to, you know what, let me go get my, I'm not going to use scissors. I'm going to try to use my clippers. Be back in a sec. Alright. Just some clippers. Just try to trim off. Probably would have been better to have done this before I transplanted it, but, and I just cut off growth. Well, I had messed that one up. That one may not make it. Alright. And that growth that I cut off had berries on it too. Well, accidents happen. That's how I got here. So let's take this one for example. This one's got most of its growth coming off of one side, so it's gonna make it grow a little lopsided. But while there is some new growth here, you can see it's gonna grow all, there's some new growth right there. So I think for this one, but that's new growth there, so we want to keep that. So I'm going to trim it just past the new growth. Then we got the new growth there, the new growth up here. Stick that in the dirt. Now some of these I'm not retopping back off yet because I kind of want to see what'll happen. But that's part of experimentation. Alright, this one's pretty good. Doesn't need any trimming, doesn't look like. This one has a really nice root ball. Look at all those roots. And there's basically no trimming really necessary. Some dead leaves here and there. But that root, those roots are wonderful. Nice root ball, decent growth. Alright, so that's all the cuttings. However, what I am going to do, I was going to go ahead and try to replant these. I mean, I got these off of cuttings. Cuttings of cuttings should be good, right? But I just don't think it's going to work. Maybe another time. Here we go. We've got them all done up. Some of the dirt levels are a little low. I'm going to give them a good water, and I'm going to put them in the windowsill. I'm going to let them grow out a little bit. And at least one of these is going to my grandma, since the cuttings from the previous experiment didn't work. This is the great way to propagate free plants. You know, sometimes people are making cuttings of things in their yard. If you happen to see it and maybe it's a plant you wanted, ask them if you can have them. I mean, they're going to throw them away anyway, more than likely. You know, maybe you walking somewhere and you see a little piece that is broken off. Take it home, see if it'll grow. You know, you don't always have to go out and buy plants. Sometimes, got to be a bit creative. But as always, thank you for watching P.I.E. Be smart. Stay safe. Have fun. Does honeysuckle really taste like honey?